tomorrow you still argue with that you didn't see that thing. But I saw that. As in, I don't know, it's just me. As in, I don't know if it happens to another person. I can't be.
Okay.
I can
be. That is a special thing. You may agree or disagree with him.
I'm a producer.
Yes.
All right. I work on the street. I can even hear the sound of the horn. As in, seriously, that can work for me in my music. Take it and leave it.
Okay, so you're saying so for you can be because I
know that eyes away from me.
Yes,
I can still do my.
You can still do with your ears.
Well,
okay, so you can be talking with your baby, your wife, and then you're flipping your phone and you're listening to her well.
Well, for phone, no, the whole lot of times listen. Whole lot of times she has told me leave that phone and listen to me. All right, and okay, I'll leave the phone. But like, what makes you think I'm looking at you face to face? Okay, it happened today, to me. All right. I was going to drop something in the car. So when I got outside, a woman, not even my mate, and can you help me? As she didn't say, can you help me? I was like, okay, let me drop in church and I'll come back. So when she entered the car, my attention was on, I don't know how I drive. Very crazy on the steering. I'm like, God, please let me take this woman and join her in the bush and all that because I wanted to impress her the way I drive. But she was talking as she was talking. When she was talking, I didn't hear one thing. All my attention was, God, please let me drive well. I don't want to. Do you understand? But I knew she was talking. I was hearing her. I was trying to assimilate some things she was saying, and I was still like, God, please, I don't overspeed. So at some point, I was like, I knew she was embarrassed. Because she knew this guy wasn't listening. But I was observing that I knew she was embarrassed.
Okay.
Do you understand? So at some point I was like, this woman is embarrassed. So I had to okay, let me listen to this man. And I said, okay, mommy, pause.
You cannot have a good conversation with someone who is driving. No, I just need to make that point. For those of you who husband, wives, your relationship support, if you have a car, it is not when you are inside the car that you are. I'm not saying you cannot have conversation with someone who is driving. But I'm saying if you want to have a heart-to-heart transaction kind of conversation, it's not behind the wheels.
Okay, I'll give you an example.
We start the discussion.
Have you seen The Expendables? Has anybody seen it? Yeah. Okay, there's this particular guy I was talking too much. What's his name? Expendables, I think it's 2 something. When Banderas was talking, he was talking too much. Yes. And Sylvester Stallone was even putting bullets and a whole lot of things in the boot.
That's female.
Do you understand?
That's female.
Yes, not fame. This is not fame. Because it happens. I know what I'm saying. Don't think I'm using myself as an example. I can be looking at you in the face. I'm not listening to you.
I agree with you because your mind has to be engaged.
I'm someone that is very, very observant. I can even not see for years. Seriously, that's how I'm someone I see it. As in, I don't know how to explain it. I'm someone that I can imagine something that has happened in the past, and I see it as if it is there. My eyes are open. So if I'm telling you I'm listening to you, forget that I'm listening to you.
I'm listening to you. All right, let's
my face off. I was saying the story about Banderas.
Okay, the lady.
Okay, and the guy was talking.
Bandera or the lady?
The Banderas guy.
Okay.
He was talking and Sylvester Stallone was just acting as if he was dropping something in the plane.
Yes.
And obviously he was acting as if he wasn't listening. So somehow we got to the war front. So Sylvester Stallone had to ask the guy, what made you leave your auntie?
Yeah.
So the guy was like, okay, I think this guy wants to listen now. That's what Banderas thought. They were like, they died. When he said they died, Sylvester Stallone mentioned the name he called as when he was acting as if he wasn't listening. Okay. You know what the guy said? He said, so you were listening? I was listening. I don't have to look at you eyeball to eyeball before forget it though. I can be looking somewhere else and I'm listening to you 100%. I've surprised my wife without the whole lot. And she's like, this guy's listening.
Okay. I agree with you. In a way. Tolu. Now, take the salient points that St. Kelly dropped. We will agree or disagree. Yeah. Tolu, flow. Don't forget the objective of this flipping through your phone and still listening attentively.
The matter of listening and using your phone, it depends on what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. easiest way, or this is why I say personally, because I myself books. The idea of reading on its own is not good enough. If you read and you don't write, you can't be an authority in whatever you're reading.
Okay.
Now, what that does is it engages your mind to the point that you are receiving, you are also writing down. And that's the reason why people write when they are preparing for exams. They do better than those who just read without writing. Now, if I'm using my phone, for example, I'm in a meeting, all right, and I'm using my phone for the purpose of that meeting, there's any possibility that's for the prop. I'm not saying that I'm going somewhere else, right? Let's say we are having a meeting, basically the information that I need to disseminate to everyone is on the phone, right? It's acceptable for me to process the information that is being discussed, all right, as I'm listening to you, I'm imputing it inside, right? It's a different ball game when you talk about using the phone for another purpose. I'm only saying that because I've had the opportunity of sitting down and listening to some certain people who do such kind of things, or who find themselves in such kind of position. The truth of the matter really is that if the information being processed, being discussed in that environment is what they are transferring, they are even better listeners than the people who are just listening, than people who are just focused on you and hearing. I don't know if you understand. Now, if you are talking to me right now, as you're talking to me, I'm writing down. I'm a better listener than someone who is just receiving directly from you into his ears.
All right, pause a little bit to so pause. While we are discussing this subject, understand that when we are at point one is not the only side to effective listening. Okay, and it is not it's not cast in stone that anybody you see flipping through his phone in a meeting is not listening. But we are using this as a guide to say that more often than not, like what he said, a scenario as painted is like 1 out of every 10. Most of the time, even people who use their phone to read the Bible. One of the reasons why is you'll see discover that eventually they say that there's a lot of practice of discipline. Even with that, while your phone is coming up, ping, ping, in the phone, the phone is a multi-directed machine. So while you are reading the Bible, somebody pings you. You are tempted to flip, because nobody can actually tell. You know, all it needs is you are reading an Android for somebody pings you. 1 second will be there showing the. So you may just quickly don't even know what the person is saying. Peep. You peep and read what the person is saying. In the process of doing that, you're already getting distracted. So more often than not, except you have built up yourself over time and be disciplined, it is better for me to drop my machine, switch it off if I actually want to concentrate, and use manual writing. Because I know over time that I always get eventually distracted. I actually want to use the phone. Like my iPad, I use a lot. That's my sermon notes. But there are times I shut it down. What I normally do is that so that no pings will come in, I switch off the data. Because I want to use it this time around to write what the minister is saying. Somebody, and anything, all the notifications comes on. Whether it is WhatsApp, it comes on. Whether it's BBM, it comes on. Whether someone sends an email, it comes on. When there is, so they are all distractions. Basically, you are distracted. So this is particularly talking about how when our phone acts as a distraction, and more often than not, I use it because that is the core symbol of distraction in relationship. Somebody say, I don't go and stop paying for BBM. Your BBM is a distraction. You're always pinging. You're always pinging. So even when you are using the phone to read Bible, the other person thinks that you are pinging. It doesn't want to know what you are doing. The fact that your head is bowed down like this, I say, like the superhuman that's in case I'm listening to you. I'm observing everything. Now my eyes may not be looking at you, but I continue to talk. While the other person does not believe you are listening.
You're not listening.
Even if eventually you are listening and you prove to the person I'm listening to you, but at that point in time, the person actually thinks you are not, your body posture deceives the person makes the person think you are not listening.
That's why I also asked.
Meanwhile, you are listening.
I said something. I said, what if I was looking at you face to face? And
That's what I'm saying.
I want to be more disappointed. So this guy is not listening to me.
I said everything is encompassing. I'm just picking one side of it. Yeah, totally finish your thoughts.
Okay. Now, despite the fact that that is a statement of fact that when you read your, for example, the information you are disseminating, if the information you are disseminating is the information I'm processing, that's the point. I'm a better listener. I mean, processing it by writing.
Yes.
I'm processing it by, all right. So now, establishing that point, really, because the truth of the matter is that we engage people, we talk to people, we relate to people every now and then. Someone can be looking at you and his mind is really, really far away. Why? He has not engaged his senses.
Yes.
His eyes may be looking at you, but his mind is far away.
Yes.
All right. His eyes may be looking at you, all right, but on his phone, he's still trying to do some other thing on his phone.
Yes.
All right. But I think the emphasis should be on the fact that you can do, like my kind of person. Believe me, there are people who can do a lot and still be listening to me. My kind of yes.
Can multitask.
Yes.
I'm
coming. There are people who can do a lot and still be listening to you. Now,
Pause.
Let me just
Wait. No.
So it's not
You know the reason why answer raised up. All of us believe we have this capacity, and that's one. That is what I used to believe too. That I can multitask. I listen. I said until I got married, and I discovered that what else? You're listening to me, and I discovered that my understanding of myself and how I operate is for me. The other person that is speaking to me, there are certain things the person expects, and if I want to be a good listener, I have to learn how to readjust my package so that I do not send the wrong signal to the other person. So if I have an impression I'm the one that is multitasking, I listen to you, but the other person, because the fact that you're doing TV, you are doing some other thing, you're writing, you can't be listening to me. So there's already a problem of conflict. Meanwhile, you are listening, but the person does not understand that, and there's conflict. So there's now a traditional battle. He doesn't listen to me. But like someone like Ezekiel and Wood, I can imagine two of them with their spouses in a counseling session where Ezekiel will be proving a point. I said, I'm listening to you. These are the reasons why I'm not listening to you. So happened. I was not looking at you, but everything you said, I picked it up. And then I said, no. I don't understand that you're kind of listening. You were not listening to me. No, I expect you to be looking at me. I expect you to so. So it's battle. Meanwhile, he is actually listening. So these are the things I've seen, and I think that it's a reason for us to take our time and trash this matter to a land.
Let me finish without any interruption. Basically, what I'm trying to drive at is the fact that if you engage every part of you in the interaction you have with somebody else, right, so there is better discussion, which many people do not actually do.
Okay.
Like I said, trying to give you myself as an instance, I do a lot of things a lot, but to be very frank with you, sometimes when I'm relating to someone, I can be like, I never heard you say that. And it could be proven from the person, alright, that the person actually said that, but it skipped. So basically, the truth really is that you have a good ability, but is that the best you can be in listening?
No.
Exactly. So can you also look at the person's face, because body movement is a language too. Yes. Can you actually leave every other thing you're doing, all right, and try to engage the person from how he's talking,
right,
to how he's gesticulating, to what he's saying, to what he has not even said, all right? Now, when we can do that, that's when we are better listeners. The point is not in the fact that you can multitask.
Okay.
All right. The point is not in the fact that you can do several things together. The point is in the fact that I want your attention and I want all of your attention.
All of you. Thank you for that. Let's move. Let's Let's ask a lady and
Yes.
Esther.
Hello, sir. Before her, can I just ask for something as regards
A
to our
question?
questions?
Okay.
I think we should stress some words.
Yes.
We should avoid us talking for too long.
All right.
Like words like attentively. That's the stress.
Attentively.
Yeah. You will not be talking too much because everybody can listen.
Okay.
But that attentively
Attentively.
describes everything. So with that, we will not be going back and forth.
Attentively. Okay. I think you. Yeah, I think so too. Listening attentively. Esther. Sorry, sir. After. Yes. Yes.
Listening attentively. Seriously, I can do 5 things and I'm listening to you attentively. Individual difference, it depends on individual.
Yeah.
How much you develop your mind determine how much you can do with that mind at the same time. But whoever is listening to me, whoever is speaking to me matters. But I have a friend, Tony. If you are talking to Tony, because I like to attend to people, no matter what you're doing on my phone. And he just tells you, young lady, drop this phone and listen to me. And I will just, once he does that, the first thing I used to do initially was, I will start from the beginning and tell him everything I said. And when he breathed and when he rested, at the point you are proud, I just want to see that you are listening to me. Let me see if you are listening. I know you are listening, but I just want to. That's what people believe, that
you were hearing him.
I was listening to him and I understood him. If I'm listening to you attentively, that means I understand what you are saying. Those are people who fail judge when I'm writing. It's simply because I want to go and listen to that person attentively later. Because at that point, anything I say, I'm talking nonsense. I choose to lock up and not listen to you. I just want to make it so that later I can listen to what you're saying attentively. Most times in school, when we write notes, it's not because we are following the lecturer. That's the truth. I can narrate all Hegel and Kenyo's books for you without mistake, page to page. You can just mention the name. But I don't have a note on any of his books. That's the truth. But I can tell you, people, it's individual differences. Some people train their mind in such a way that they can do many things at the same time and still listening. But for the sake of whoever is speaking, look at me. So people want you to hold my hand to the Jew I become a Jew. If easy me to make your brother to fall, don't eat for more. So for the sake of that person to get the answer, checking out.
Okay. And in this time around, so this time around we are now we are now making our submission relative. So for instance, no matter how skilled you are in multitasking, it depends on the person I'm speaking to or the person that is speaking to me. For instance, now your boss cannot be talking to you and you say because you are multi-skilled. I say I gotta be talking. You will borrow yourself brain. You will borrow yourself brain. I say your boss will not even give an opportunity to produce results. Yeah. Yes, I hear you.
Let me say something. She said, somebody said, the keyword is attentive.
Yeah.
You see, most times we don't put the person that is talking to us in consideration. Somebody have lost his own idea.
Has lost
his marriage. The woman believes that this man is not taking it serious. You know, in Africa here, respect God for those who come down. They expect the younger ones to respect them, but we don't respect our younger ones. You should also respect the person that's talking to you. When you do that, it's a sign that you're not respecting the person. That's a sign that you're not, the person is not putting into consideration. Somebody is talking to you. You will think you are good, but one or two words that you didn't hear very well because it is that.
Yes, now.
Just minor work. Do it by 6 p.m. You heard everything, but that 6 p.m. you didn't hear.
Right. You didn't know it was 6 p.m. because you said.
You can even do it by 5 p.m.
You missed out the 6
You
p.m.
missed out. You just missed out. You see that time, that you heard everything, that 6 p.m. that you didn't hear can cost you your life. Look, let me tell you, you see this word attentive, that's what we are eating.
Yes.
You may think you know it all. You're not a machine. You think you know it all. You see, you have a tendency to forget. Once that thing is not recorded, you have a tendency to forget. That's the word we are hitting is attentive. You will do it all the time. You think you are getting out, getting away with it. But a situation will come. You prove that you are really human.
You are human.
So we must hit on this.
Attentively. Yes. Hello. Let me hear a female. Yes, yeah, you need to have.
Play that keyboard.
Don't worry. Well, in a hurry. You will not finish it tonight. Yeah. What's your name? Ada. It's the first time. Okay.
For me, listen attentively. If I know you listen, it doesn't just go within what I just said now. It's for tomorrow. Like what he said, 6 p.m. If I said, I could communicate like part of this information, I will know you actually listen if you did that thing tomorrow.
Okay.
Because you probably might just heard what I said and okay, the next day you got everything I said. You did not listen to me, you just heard me, you just wanted me to just talk. And no matter if you look at me, aside that you look at me and all that, it doesn't really matter if you listen, it's carrying out the information tomorrow or what I said. If you actually listen, you will do what I said.
Okay.
So that's to show you that you actually listen attentively.
So for you, whether the person is looking at his phone, whether it's looking at you or not looking at you, as long as what you communicated was received. Okay. Yeah. Now. Hello. Wait. First of all, Flo. Listen. I agree that each of us are unique individuals with unique abilities that are different. But our approach in this discussion first is not to recognize your very unique abilities and to approach the subject of listening from a general point of view. And yes, first,
I think you take your individual because most of the people that think that they are not listening, they think they are listening. They are not.
I know. Let's no. That is your. No. Fred. That. Wait. The reason I said so. Listen, I cannot jettison your opinions about yourself or your evaluation about yourself. I already know it exists because I used to think that way. But when I now came into marriage and I discovered that this is a different ballgame, I have to now unlearn. I have to now go back to the basics. And first,
I think that's where that love now comes in.
I'm not reached there.
Because we're not from there.
I'm not reached
because
there.
we're still dealing on listening. That's where that love now comes in. Where we're now thinking about the other person.
No, it's important. It's important for everyone. It's important for everyone to talk this way, so that we can appreciate that this is our challenge. We all approach this matter from our understanding of our unique abilities, until we now see that it's hitting a roadblock. But before it does that, I'm trying to say, first of all, before you start, expressing your special abilities and start baxing in your energies to be able to multitask, drop that one somewhere. Let's learn the basic ethics, rules of a good listener. You can now, after you have learned the general knowledge, the pros and cons, the distractions that for this time around this attribute or discussion does not take into cognizance your special unique abilities. You can customize it to yourself later, but let's come to the average basic standard for a good listener. And for you to be able to appreciate this discussion, you have to drop your understanding of yourself.
Yes.
Are you saying
Empty, yes.
Are you saying you are doing academics now?
No.
Okay,
I agree. Yes, yes. Yes.
advantages of social life, so you know the advantages.
For now, yes. Yes.
No.
For
That's
now.
what we are saying.
Wait. When you mentioned wait, no, wait. You are not listening to me. One of the rules in listening to someone is by the time there's a lot of interruptions going on, both parties are not listening to themselves. So sometimes listening with empathy is an ability for you to be able to pause and make concerted effort to hear what the other person is saying. To hear to understand, not to hear to argue. To hear to understand what he's saying and what he also may not be saying. That is important. Okay, so what he said, and if I heard him, he said, "Are we now turning this introduction to academic?" In the sense that we don't want to put into cognizance our real day-to-day practical life. I said to an extent, yes. Let's first understand the basic fundamental ethics and definitions and rules of engagement. Of course, I'm not saying that when you are talking, you should not express yourself or express your unique abilities. But I'm saying that while you do that, understand, first of all, my objective on this platform as the moderator is to first establish a general. And if both of us don't understand ourselves in that way, we'll keep having conflict. You look at we feel as if we don't understand ourselves. I'm saying that it's important for us to understand the general rules. Why we appreciate your unique abilities. Because those of us who say on our unique abilities find ourselves conflicting when we learn how to relate with people. Because you want every other person to understand your unique abilities, so you respond to your boss, the same way you respond to your pastor, the same way you respond to your wife. You say, well, I'm grace, I'm multitask. And then you start falling into problems. Meanwhile, it is just common sense ethics that you did not have time to imbibe, that is throwing you out of the job. Yet you are spirit-filled, you are tongue-talking, you are a lover of God. But you can't stay in a job because you don't listen. So that guy, he work with us, that guy don't hear anything. Now, when he send a man like this, and like this, you don't hear any other person. Meanwhile, you're a good guy. So a lot of spirit-filled Christians do not understand basic ethics of life. And they will try to spiritualize it. We try to be on the basis of our anointing, our special abilities, and all that. Meanwhile, the basic ABCD, we don't even know it because we think we are above it. Yes, that's what is causing us problems. That is why I choose to start on the ABC. While I'm not saying stay with me, I'm saying why you want to talk, be free, function with life, say what is on your mind, but understand that this is the direction that we are all taking. I will consistently bring us back to what the objective and the focus is. I want us to move on.
Somebody
Let's
has.
move on. Let's
move
move
on.
on.
Introduce somewhere else.
I wanted to say something about how
Who is she?
lady about
That,
how should you know you are listening is if you do it by I think the listener to me now, I heard you claim and
yes.
But some people have scattered their plans. So
Okay. So if you were know now, our way of knowing
yeah,
that you heard, that you find that by sister. No matter your explanation, now you now need that the fact that you did not do it by 6 o'clock does not mean I did not hear you. And so you see that when if you tell someone like that, you see when you are going to have a conflict. Yes. All right. Are you asking a question or responding?
No, I actually want to respond to something.
Who? Oh, okay.
There are people that
I'm going to the next one. There will be other things to talk about.
Okay,
No, I'll feel that one. You leave here.
We are still on this, so don't worry. Don't worry.
Are you sure?
We can't finish that.
Okay, Elvis.
Yeah, Elvis.
All right. I think we need to. Okay, this angle I'd like to bring in. Ada says something, and she said that if she tells you, and she tells you the specific time to do it,
Yeah.
and when she wants the feedback, you don't do it at the exact time. As far as she's concerned, you just listen to her.
Yeah.
Then he responded and said, well, it has to do with discipline. But putting it all together, I think there's something that we're actually missing out, and that is we listen to, but we also listen for. Now, sometimes when people talk, because we have, we don't always have the right words to express what we feel on the inside.
That's better than talking.
Yeah, like for instance, when we communicate, we are using words to describe maybe feelings. We are using words to describe what words may not perfectly capture.
Yeah.
And so what we do most of the time is that we just listen to. And in listening to, we are trying to understand and probably say word for word what the person has said. But let's just assume that the person was not linguistically, let's say, able to communicate exactly the feeling and all that.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you listen for, you get to know what the person is trying to say that he is not able to say. And I think that is one part that we have not really established yet. Then the Bible says, casting down imaginations and every high thing that results itself against the knowledge of God and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ. Now, you may just wonder, like, where does that really relate? Most times, we pay attention to what people are saying, but the only reason we are paying attention to what they're saying is because of arguments. So, I've actually listened to you, I understand you perfectly, but the reason for my listening and paying attention and all that is because
I'm looking for your...
Yes, because I wanted to come up with a counter argument, and so at the end of the day, we have not really been able to get exactly what the person was trying to say.
Pause. You come back. When somebody is talking and you are listening for the points to argue, because it's a mental ability. I mean, you have to mentally capture. Listen. You have to mentally capture what the person is saying that you want to oppose. There is no way that kind of objective can achieve listening. We all do it in our manner of defense. Somebody is talking, you are looking forward for what is. You can bring 5 points of things you didn't say well that you disagree with. That means, or when somebody is talking, you're like, your body language is saying, I mean, somebody is saying something, but you want to talk. You want to talk. Your concentration, even in that part, when somebody is talking, I've let now watch me. Now all of you watch me. When someone is talking, I have learned. It's not because what the person is about to say. I mean, initially I find it inspirational or powerful revelation. I've just learned I must focus. So you see me looking at the person, I'm hearing. Because if I'm not, for a few times you get distracted, but we have to come back to what the person is saying. So there's the issue of focusing on the person to hear what the person is saying. It's not because I'm the moderator, but that practice has not helped me over the years to be able to focus. When you talk about the issue of eye contact, to be able to look at the person, look at the body language, look at what he's saying and what he's not saying. Not necessarily because, like what Elvis is, like some people that that naturally they are very controversial. Maybe when Christian now, or maybe Fred or someone, they handle the mic. Your instinct for listening is like, let me pick the wrong things he's going to say. You can't hear him. And if you agree with me, Fred makes a lot of profound, wise statements. But a lot of us never pick it because from the moment he handles the mic, your ears comes away. That to hear what he's about to say, like, I don't like, that I'm going to punch up.
Sorry for you.
Don't worry, we're helping ourselves here. So it's important for you to be able to focus to listen.
Controversial point.
Myself and my wife have had many conflicts on that line. We are now growing into the place of maturity right now because when we start, there are lines. There's a way we introduce a discussion that she already knows the end of that conversation. So she's now listening to hear. Both of us are listening to ourselves. what you're going to say that I'm going to counter. You say a counter. You say a counter. So counter. Eventually we are worn out. At the end of the discussion, we wish the discussion never started. So we can't just talk more. Couples are talking. Why don't we just start a normal? Must we always call here? These are the reasons why. Because when the person is talking, you have already concluded in your heart, I know what to say. And I'm going to watch out for the things he's saying I don't like. I'm going to counter it. So you're not listening to the salient points. All this one, go save the point. Go save the point. Go. Is that all? All this thing I'm dancing around. Go hit the nail on the head. I'm not hearing the person. What makes you think is the name the person wants to eat? Round up.
Okay, come. I think this based on what you said earlier when you were giving your introduction, listening is a subtopic under communication.
Yeah.
And we've established earlier that communication is not just what you say, it's about how you say it, it's about the body language and all that. So would it be right to say that if listening is a subtopic or is a part of communication,
yes,
and that communication has to do with body language and the attitude, the general attitude with which you communicate,
yes,
then I think it would be right to say that you are not doing justice to what, as far as listening is concerned, if the body attitude does not interplay. Yes. Because listening is part of communication.
Yes.
And if you cannot communicate without the right body language, then can you really listen without the right body language?
Well, the focus is not on the person who is talking right now. The focus, is Victor. The focus is on the person who is hearing. Question. Okay. Yes. Listening and communication. I thought that some other has been answered. Okay, Victor.
Okay.
Somebody that thought the difference between listening and communication.
It happens all the time. Not all the time, though. But most times when I want to say something, before the mic gets to me, I've forgotten what I want to say. It's fine.
Probably your question.
I think one of the things I have an issue with right now, we tend to use the word listen to cover a lot of things, understanding, agreeing, communicating. You understand? Listening is listening. You understand? I think that's the best way I can put it. If you say hearing, you say listening, but the fact that I heard you, or I might be listening to you, getting information from you, but I don't understand it, or I might not agree with it. You say hearing is not listening, but we just agreed. Hold on, we established something here that you listen to get information.
Yes.
Right. Now, if I listen to you, the information I'm getting from you I'm not really understanding exactly what you're trying to communicate to me.
We're going to get there. When you get to that point, there are steps to take to clarify that, which that shows that you are listening.
That's fine. Yeah, that's fine. But the point I want to make is, you see, I like this list you put up there. There's listening with empathy. That's where you have to consider the other person that's talking, okay? What the person requires, especially if it's a two-way communication, it's an interaction. Yeah. The person wants to feel like you are also participating in the conversation. Yeah. But if you are listening on the radio, for instance, you are listening. Yes. Any other thing, but you are getting the relevant information that you have to get. Yes. Okay. So that's why I insist that we don't just
pause. Don't get this wrong. That we are saying that that if the people who are flipping with their phones or getting distracted are not listening. But note that we can have a most humanly impossible, but it's important we set that standard ourselves, is that when you listen 100%.
is a tall order. There are people who listen 10%. There are people, but as you train yourself, as you mature, as you practice, your ability to be able to absorb almost what everybody that person is saying is increased. So, for instance, you can be multitasking and then you are still able to pick like 50-60% of what somebody is saying. But I say, as you continue to eliminate distraction, train up your mind, discipline yourself, do some other things, that ability grows. So, like listening is like a skill you develop all throughout your life. We're not saying that this is not an attempt for us to say all of us who are doing 100% capacity to listen, but we grow in it. There are different levels. There are different growth in it. But the issue is that all of us must accept that this is a growth. All of us need to grow, and we can never tell when we fully attain it. In fact, it's not even good for you to accept that now you have grown, you have arrived, you now listen 100%. No, there's no such human being.
Okay. Based on what you just said now, the issue I have with that, I don't really think it's possible for a human being to get 100% as his owner. Yes. Now, why I'm saying this is, if we try to improve on your listening ability, listening to one person or listening to just anybody, I feel like the statement you made that you thought you could listen until you got married, I don't really agree with that, because getting married, you're now relating with someone, okay? It's a new experience. Yeah. I grew up interacting with some people. I've understood how to communicate with them. But learning to be with someone else, I have to start learning the person's own requirements. I need to start. It's like listening with empathy. Yeah. It has to do with the person's need. Yes. The person needs for me to always look at the person. Okay. Now, so that's aside. So what I just want to say is, some people think you don't listen to them because you don't agree with what they are saying. Yeah. Some people think you don't. So if, like what she was saying, that if you say you listen to me, but you're not doing what I said you should do, then you're not listening. Yeah. And I even follow that. I tend to make that mistake once in a while also. But I think that's why listening or communicating also entails you voicing your disagreement. Yes. Learning to.
There's a place of feedback, so we'll get to that, all those points. So this is a series that is going to take us months. So let's not. In fact, we are still at the introductory stage. So don't think that within this introductory we'll capture all the many sides that has to do with listening. So most of the concerns that you raise has to do with matters and issues that we are still going to come into later. All right. So. This is just the introductory phase, and there are a lot of things that we are not capturing in this introductory phase. Okay, yeah, let's hear. Is this 15 minutes to 7? Yes. My God, we need to move after him, Kachi, and we'll about to take a break. And then we come to body postures matters. Yes. Good evening. We also need to ask, sorry, if you can be licking ice cream and paying attention and listening well. Can you? Try. See them now. All right.
Okay, there's several things I want to talk about. But I want to just point out. I want to focus really on multitasking.
Multitasking.
Yeah. I read books. Like one book I like very well, and I keep talking about is Sherlock Holmes. I like the book very much. The guy is like a detective who has trained himself to a certain level whereby he perceives his environment, his surrounding, and the people as he interacts with people. Yeah. He's able to decipher certain things that people who haven't really spent time to pay attention to detail. Yeah. They lose out. So that's what makes him. That's what makes people see him as the best detective in the world. Now, one thing he says that works on his brain. So if you tell him something, you can't forget it. It's not whether he's conducting an experiment, or he's talking to someone, or he's just doing something in the game, basically. Now, I watched the documentary that now we know that people consult spirit just trick you. they have quick fingers. They try and look for blind spots that the perception cannot see, and then they manipulate it. So you can't really see. Now, that documentary showed throughout what the whole documentary was on was showing the powers of the brain and also its limitations. Now, every brain has a blind spot. Now, according to that Sherlock Holmes I read, I actually realized that after reading all his colleagues and memoirs here, I realized that his way of doing things is actually using the blind spots of the brain. Now we all know that the brain has its power, its power is very magnanimous. God has blessed us with a very, very good brain. But there are also limitations to it, because if we have so much, we can do so much more, we can start calling ourselves gods. So there's a limitation to it. We have blind spots. So one of them that I know very well is multitasking. Now, in that same documentary, there was a guy who said, okay, I work in this engineering plant, and I have to manage this, manage that, do this, do that. And then at some point, he said, okay, so you must have very well. And everybody was like, yeah. And if I ask my dad for an advice, he's on his phone, he's mailing someone, and he's giving me good advice. So everyone in his family was like, oh, this guy just good. He called him and told him, okay, let's take the test. I'm going to do the test for drivers. Just zigzags only. Then they now engage someone to, like someone far away who will engage him in the chat. Now this guy hits all the balloons. So if he was on the road, he was going to kill a minimum of 20 people. You can't multitask. That's one of your brain can never multitask. Because human beings are not dual. Human beings are not dual.
Don't be moved by distraction.
Can we listen?
They are not listening.
I think I am in secondary school class of listening. Those of you in primary school, just follow me. You can see that I'm focused on him. I have trained myself that way. As he's talking, I'm hearing a lot of side discussions going on. You're not listening. You're already failing the test that you are discussing.
So so human beings are not dual or multi-receptors, even in receiving and in doing. Let me explain. God created the heavens and the earth. He didn't create the heaven while creating the earth. So in other words, so you can't say that. So you can't say that when someone the Bible was given to us. The Bible was given to us as a roadmap.
Don't be distracted. Don't try to explain it. You don't
I'm just trying to
hold
on. Okay, you said it's heresy. What's not heresy? Bible was so that is where we are going. If God decides to multitask and build the earth, then now he's trying to tell you that every one of us were multitaskers. That's what it is. So it's not heresy. It's not heresy. Then also when someone is talking to you, you cannot do if you say one to two things at the same time, you obviously miss something. You miss. For instance, yesterday my mom told me that I should wash chicken, I should spice it, I should wash I should wash tomatoes, I should blend it. Now that's like 5 tasks. I missed one. I didn't wash the cucumber. Not because I missed it. Mind you, it was by the sink. It was there. I just missed it. Forgot. Because what was I doing? I was working on my computer while she was talking. So even that part of someone saying you can do it, you're already seeing it as common courtesy, but that thing goes a long way. It's even more than common courtesy. It's because you can't do things at the same time. It's not possible. Just like a phone, like your own phone. You say one thing, the person receives it, understands it, then sends it back to you. It's different from what you are doing your phone, like on mobile phones, where you can talk and I can interrupt you and talk back. So human beings cannot multitask. It's not even in our own system too. So even if you want to build your capacity, your mind, your knowledge, everything like the Sherlock Holmes. It's a lie. What I just doing is you're manipulating people's blind spots. Every brain has a limitation. And one that has a
I want to ask the question concerning one thing.
Alright, so add to that, there is a process that we are missing. I've done a reading on that in the research also. Human beings cannot multitask. It's impossible. Now what we do is this. There is a process like the I wish doctors are here to understand. You will do that.
Pause. None of us is a custodian of absolute knowledge. We are here to add to our knowledge. I said that there are certain things that they are saying that I'm hearing for the first time, something I don't agree with, but I'm not listening to them to argue what they are saying, even because it's conflicting with what I already believe. I'm listening to hear what they are saying that I can add to what I know. You don't have to agree with his answers. You don't have to agree with everything that they are saying. But if you take the position of what this guy is saying is coming against what I already stand for, you are going to miss out on the few salient points you are supposed to have, because whatever he's saying is conflicting to what you have said before, and that is then we become defensive in our conversation. So let's listen. What they are saying are scientific. They have researched it. You can do your own research, and you can negate it or you can accept it. Anybody talking here is not saying I am the authority, listen to me. He's just saying it, he's just contributing to the body of knowledge. Pick what is yours, listen for it, and let's make progress. You don't have to fight anybody because the person is speaking against what you are. Please, Kachiko, go ahead.
Alright, so there is a process called, in computer they call it automation, or even in mechanics they call it automation. There is a side of your brain that helps you do that. Now, automation is done as a bypass, is a function of your brain. Now, the active part of your brain can only settle on one thing at every time. So people can be walking, like the way you're moving your leg and also listening to me, your body is on automation. Wow. That is habitual. Like the way I move my hand is habitual. It's something that over time it has become a habit that I don't think to do it. It's as a response of what has been habituated in my brain. Wow. So that doesn't need any processing power to do. It just comes by a byproduct of what has been habituated in my brain. Now, to do a task that is genuinely new, that you're processing at that time, your brain can only handle one. Wow. Scientific, you can go and check it. So, except we are talking about automation like walking and talking, you cannot call that walking multitasking. So that I think at this point, I want to even define the word. I want to define the word listen. Okay. The word listen in definition actually comes with the word attention. That means it's even exclusively different from hearing.
Yeah, from hearing.
Like they say, to give one's attention to a sound. And now if you check the definition of attention, it's taking special care to that thing exclusively. So now the word listen and attention, joining them together is a high order beat. Super high order, because even listen has the word attention in it. And if you go to the military, when they say attention, it means stop everything you're doing and stay. So if you are saying that we are, so you might be hearing a radio program and be automating or something else. Some people can actually drive and be hearing it because they have automated themselves. They are not making critical decisions. So what we are dealing with is listening, and we are even adding attentively on top of it. You cannot, my standpoint, you cannot do it because it needs total attention to reception of what I'm saying.
Well, you can do all things. No, don't use anybody else. Why that's going on? Let's move to number two. Number two and number three at the same time. And that's what we're going to end today. Your body postures matter. What you say and don't say matters. So, what are when you want to I've been in, let's even take a general meeting. I've been in a general meeting like this. We're saying that by research, by experience, there are certain body positions that will not enhance your ability to assimilate and listen well. What are those kinds of body posture? See, someone, if you call your babe, you call your husband, say, sweetheart, I want us to, there's something else in my heart. You wake the person up. You want to download. There's something I want us to say, okay. All right, sit down.
She's lying down.
I hear you. I hear you. So we see somebody do that. This office very well. We are in a critical business office meeting. They are about to pass information across. The guy will just see that. MD, I mean, MD, Asuko. So, of course, he doesn't realize that what the MD is saying, or the person who is talking is saying, is addressing him. It's not. You cannot sit that way, even if you have a super brain. For instance, you can actually sit down like that, the likes of them, sing, and be hearing everything you're saying. But for the person who is speaking, he's not in your brain. He doesn't understand. He doesn't have superpowers to understand your super powers. As far as he's concerned, he has the super abilities to. As far as he's concerned, that your position is not a position that tells him that you are ready to listen. So, as we discuss this, I want us to demonstrate distracting postures that does not end good listening, and then tell us what the better one is. So when you actually want to listen to hear, what position, body postures do you take? What gestures, body packaging do you take that puts you in a better position, that helps you? For those of us who don't have superpowers, none of us have super brains. Some of us have, some of us don't have. So what are the things you actually do to help yourself to assimilate? Like in class, when you are in a lecture room, when vital information is going on and you are feeling sleepy, or you are feeling bored, what are those adjustments you need to make physically to help you listen better? I will take the hands of anybody who has not spoken first.
She's the wife, I'm the husband. He's the wife, I'm the husband. Oh, and please, the husband, I'm the wife. The husband wants to talk to the wife. There's a girl beside you. She wants to talk to me. And she calls me.
Calls you on phone?
No, she calls me.
Okay.
And I'm sitting here. And I call her. And while I'm talking, she's like this. This is me and this is her. Okay. That's one position that is negative.
What position particularly? I'm not getting it.
Okay. Like she is playing me and I'm playing her. And she is talking to me and I'm not concentrating.
Okay.
Rather,
okay. You are like this. Okay. And she's like this.
Yes.
So you can see the position he's talking about. They are talking to themselves, and he's taking this position. But she's speaking to him. But look at the position that they are in. So if Kibuzo now wants to show that I'm interested in what you are saying and I want to listen, what should you do? What should Kibuzo do?
Adjust the chair.
Adjust the chair. You talk and you talk to her. Every time, most of the time, we do this to a discussion that we're not interested in, a person that we're not interested in. More often than not, I hear the other person say, "Please, can you face me? Can you turn?" And say, "No, keep talking. I'm hearing you." That's a deviant posture that shows that I'm not. If I see your face, I'll be irritated. Just stop. Just be talking. Let me hear anyone you're saying. So, any person want to say anything? I want to say something. Well, anybody who has not said anything first. Okay. All right. Tolu. Okay, before you forget, what you want to say. Tolu has a super brain. He can recollect at any time.
One of the things I'm thinking, one of the things I think we're trying to establish here is that listening is not complete, but the person who's speaking feels like he's listening.
Yeah. Very, very important.
Just a thing,
Simply. Tolu. Oh, question. You are one of those that have super brain.
Yeah. It's the one that can do all things.
I can do. Don't forget where we are before you start going back to your phone. Body posture.
I want to emphasize something just so that our discussions can be properly held in personal.
Yes.
Human beings, I've seen human beings do crazy things, as in things that you never, ever imagined they could ever do.
Like
the emphasis basically is the fact that let's not try to box. I've related with people I know we've all related with, I've related with people, I've mixed with different kind of people that someone can be lying somewhere, is paying attention to you. All of those things just have to do with courtesy. It's just courtesy for me to be related. I don't use my phone when I talk to people. I'm not quick to judge someone who uses his phone while he's talking to me. Because when you talk of this emotional intelligence, it's on both sides. You don't expect someone, as much as you are expecting someone to be emotional intelligent to understand that you should understand. It's the same way you yourself should be able to understand for other people. Now, I'm trying to establish a point. Most of what we've been talking about basically has to do with concept. The truth of the matter really is that I can sleep on my bed, you're talking to me, and I'm listening to you. I tell people I don't sleep. If you touch me like this, I'm going to get up. That's my person. Yes. I don't.
It's not a sleep.
If you want to try it, we're all different.
Pause. Wait, class.
I don't want to talk to you. I just want to emphasize this point so that while we are talking, we don't. Human being is not 1 + 1 is equal to 2. We are not that kind. I was talking to someone yesterday. You create a computer that can do all things. You are saying to yourself that you cannot multitask. The computer can multitask. You created it. You are the mindset. God, you can't do anything more than God because He created you. Are we understanding? Now the emphasis really is that we should not try to box. You cannot try to box the human potential. There are some things that is expected to be done by reason of courtesy. I related with someone of recent, all right, and it just gave me more reason why I need to understand for people because I'm not you. So don't try to use your own basis of judgment to relate with me. I'm not you. So don't try to say that because you love to always look at me and talk to me, and so I have to do that. I've related with people that they can't look at your face eyeball to eyeball. So what's the point of you enforcing your intentions of you need to look at me, you need to ensure this, you need to make sure that you are looking at me. What if I'm looking at you and I can't tolerate or I don't have the capacity to look at you and listen?
As moderator, I can pause you. You know that it looks like what Tolu has said and what Kachi has said are two different things.
Yeah.
Does it look like so?
Yeah.
It looks like, and the reason, and there's a reason why I paused it. I want us, I want us to establish the fact that both of them, and that's if I think I hear them, are saying the same thing.
Yes, in different words, actually.
Because
if you heard what Kachi said, and I heard, you will realize that it's not saying that you cannot multitask. It's giving you proven scientific research that tells you that what you call multitasking in your own language is automation. That, if you don't hear, and I said, listen, Tolu, you need to listen. You need to listen. Now, again, we have not also said what house said the unique abilities of humans should not be appreciated. I see, man, if I listen to you, Tolu, I see that whenever you are getting up, you don't seem to appreciate the general objective of this discourse first. Yeah. You are trying to let us know about exceptions to the general rules. And we are not disputing. You heard me saying that. I'm not saying that when you are slouching, anybody who slouches is not listening. We're not saying so. We're not saying that there are no unique abilities and all of us have exceptions to the rules that exist. I'm saying that we are starting from the general. I'm saying that in a bit, if we stand on your position, if you stand on your position, we are going to give excuse for a lot of people who are going to hit the ABCD. There are people that have not come into cognizance with their unique abilities. So they are not supposed to be cheated. They are, first of all, if you just understand the basic first, the general basics, the ABCD, the 1 + 1 is 2 part of this. If you understand that alone, you are at least somewhere. Then you can now do calculus. Understand the A, B, C first. That's what I'm saying. The general research, general rule. So, but whenever, and I said that this is a series that will go for months. We're eventually going to identify all those exceptions. But then we identify all those unique abilities. But please, first of all, if you are going to learn in this discourse, you need to first unlearn the things that you think you know about yourself. And listen to hear. When you listen to it, you'll appreciate that we are not saying two different things. We are not denying the fact that these things exist. But we are saying, let's start. You say you want to also start from the place of calculus. But we say we want to start from A, B, C, D. What is wrong with starting from the academic place? You know, there's something that my mentor taught me that, you see, one of the problems of the church, one of the reasons why we have gotten into heresy is that there's a crave for revelations. So a lot of people just carry scriptures and force their interpretations and insights on it. When we don't even understand the context, first of all understand the story, then be able to interpret it in the context before you start trying to follow principle and apply it to everyday life. So every time we come to a Bible study, we start from the basics. Define the subject. Give your academic definition. What's the meaning of listening first? Understand what listening is an English word. Don't give us Bible definition. Define it first, not the basics. Read the story. Tell us the story in the way it was listed in the Bible. Then before you start bringing, don't put like application and force it on a verse of scripture. So I'm saying that I follow that principle. And we think we are being spiritual by doing so. I'm saying let's start from the basics. Allow me as a moderator to push us on that line. We will build up on it. The general the simple ethics of listening. Then we will not identify that there are some superhumans amongst the abilities and all that who can be able to do all these things and things. I mean, I will appreciate that. But I identify that every one of us can start from the point of ABCD. Is that a rule of engagement that we should? You understand what I'm saying? So I am not. I'm every other person. All the superhumans that are here. I am not going against your understanding. Please.
Let's discuss this matter. Let's be objective. let's be objective.
But it's not objective enough. The general.
Who says to you that the proper body posture for listening to someone is standing up? Who says? Where is it written?
Nobody has said so.
Exactly. No, as now, who is?
Abadi, my hands are up. No, my hands have been up before you.
I know, I'm going to call you.
If we don't discuss
Okay, so you think that we are boxing in people? That's okay. Everybody's entitled to his own opinion. All right. So you may think that way. Somebody else may not think that way. And in here, everybody's entitled to his opinion. So express yours and allow every other person to express their own. As the moderator, I'll tie it up. All right.
Somebody has a question.
15 more minutes will be done. It's 7:30. Yeah.
It's all right. For my question,
it's not the best time to do. When the tempo is getting higher like that, and I'll finish ice cream. Please bring cold water.
I'd like to say that before my question, I'd like to say I'm not very sure of what the objectives are, but I think that from what Victor said, we are trying to establish here. If you view it from an angle of the person that will give you the verdict as a husband that you love me, it's not you, it's your wife. The person that will give you as wife as the verdict that you respect me, it's not the wife. It's not you that will be saying I respect my husband. It's your husband that will be saying she respects me. That's the person that examines you.
Yes, you are not your own
examiner. Copy this objective into what we are saying. That the person that is saying you are a good listener is not you that is priding yourself by the way you are listening. It is, listen, if you don't understand this, then we will be running in circles. Because the problem is that we are not accepting who gives the verdict.
Yeah.
You understand? But I borrow lead from Victor. If we establish the fact that the person that will tell, it's not you that is slouching and say, I'm listening. If the other person strongly feels, I stand to be corrected. I think we will have that view to help our discussion as we go on. It is the listener that is the examiner.
There's something that you just said now. That statement is a coding statement in making your point. I stand to be corrected. You may not even mean it, but may you take a position and you are making an affirmative submission. But you have introduced me that what I'm saying now, even though sometimes you say we don't actually mean it, but from the person who is hearing you, it means that you are open to being disagreed. Always use it frequently. I stand to be corrected and eventually mean it.
I think this one. Yes, truly, because if we don't establish that, we will probably be going in circles. I'm coming from an angle of love and respect, and if we are trying to examine who is listening and who is hearing, I think it is the listener that should be able to give you a good report, maybe not the final report, but it is the listener. And how do you gauge yourself that you're actually a good listener? You actually, if you repeat exact words, if we arrange 5 people here and I whisper something into their ear to repeat to each other, at the 5th one, definitely it is colored. You are not hearing the correct sentence that was given at the first instance.
Yeah.
It means that the last person is probably the first person that listened to what was said did not listen.
Yeah.
So pass another message, and that is what Jesus is struggling with the church. You know the ear, he gave us 2 ears. You know the ear, we talk more than we hear. My question now is that I love Kachi and I would like to ask, a drummer, is it multitasking?
It's automation, it's not
automation, that drumming.
You have visualized it.
Okay, calm down. Think about it. Don't think automation. Think about it, because the drummer is the only instrumentalist who probably is using almost every part of his body. No. Excuse me, what is no? It's that movement that you are pressing with your leg that you think you are moving your leg. It's not that we are talking about. Saxophone too wants to say he's using his leg or something. I am okay. I start to be corrected. You know, I don't know what but the drummer is one of the. Let me put it this way: the drummer is one of the instrumentalists who uses almost every part of his body. You know, and I'm wondering, you know, forget that one. I'm wondering, you know, what is that part of multitasking? You know, to me, that was just something we think we should think. So you just have to answer my question.
Think about that, Harry. You're next. Well, I think he has an answer. I think it's anyway.
Automation.
Oh, it's automation. It's over time.
Yeah. Harry Newton. I think I am listening to people because I've been catching things and shedding off the ones that I think is not right.
Great stuff.
Actually listening to Fred and everything, most of what Fred said, I don't know, I've assimilated. I hope I can remember everything. I hope I can remember everything because actually he said some strong words. He talked about color tone. Body language, and the last of them is what? Words. If every one of us had Fred, then we will not be doing so much of argument. Because he said the major is what? Body language. The next is what? Color tone. These things are visual. Color tone is actually visual. If you look at it very well, color tone is actually visual. The least of them is what? What? The hearing. They say, we will all agree that they say a picture is what? 1,000 million words. You can see it goes a long way. Let me just do this drama. I'm a drama person. And I would also like to explain before the drama. In drama, I can get a script from Kaduna. And it's possible I interpret the script just like the writer. What did I do? How was I able to interpret the script? I read the script to the point of knowing the mind of the writer against trying to rubbish it in the first place. I'm trying to know the mind. So even if you say rubbish, I am accepting the rubbish. That is in getting into the mind of the writer. You say you don't need to be, you don't need to see me. You say body posture is not important. You say what you say and don't say does not matter. Okay, you are behind me or you are sleeping at home. You can hear very well, you are sharp. You are good at interpreting things. Very great. And me and Kachi are playing outside. Jokingly, I was laughing and I was playing. I just came and I was acting drama. Kachi, you the mad, you the great. I go beat you. But you, the listener, great the listener. I go on the bed. See how I go at you. Don't kill her. Why you like that? You move. To the mat, to the desk. Mommy, walk away. I will just kill you there. What do you want to do there? You think you want to kill him? Yes, boy. Go to the brand, go kill her. Body posture. The place of what you say and what you did not say. I said something. That is what I said. But what I did not say. What I did not say is that I did not mean those words. Right or wrong? Body language.
Well, that's if they forget anything, for a year, I thought you think everything.
You see,
It's just a victim of it.
Come on,
Yeah.
because the world is
I've learned rather that you have the encoder, you have the decoder. And then you have, in between the encoder and the decoder, you have the message. And there must be feedback. If there's no feedback, the communication is not complete. You understand? That's one. Yes, yes. So, but of course, you have to listen. The decoder has to decode the message. It doesn't decode the message. It hasn't got to the message. You understand? And that's where listening comes in. And using body posture. Body posture is, in communication, body posture is, body language is 70% of communication. Verbal is 30%. 60 to 70% is body posture. Prove it. Prove it. That's why in dance, also dance too. Yeah. Salsa, you don't talk. You meet someone for the first time. She's a salsa expert, and some professional, and you're a professional. You don't talk.
For the first time.
Yes, for the first time. For the first time.
Messages are professional.
You meet a salsa dancer. There was one of my teachers then. There was a woman that came from Brazil and was taking us, and she just met the woman for the first time. Just like that. Because they didn't talk. And in salsa, you know when the lady is tired, you know when everything is in the body language.
Okay.
Body language is very important. You can't push that aside. Whether he's talking to me and I'm sleeping, that's why in interviews, when you go for interviews, you look at you score points when you have good body language. Yes, now. You don't say, I'm getting it.
There are body postures that shows pride.
Yeah.
Even if you don't mean it. The Bible talks about a crowd move. So there's a way somebody wants to talk to you and is expecting you to show that I'm ready to listen, and you're like, somebody saying, and most women women, how do you do when you are ready for nobody's talking to you but you are ready to show that give us the body posture. You won't talk about the talk. But we have some superhumans who can do like this and they'll be hearing. Meanwhile, the person who is hearing you is already taken off by your. Some people, every other thing is well, but their eyes. Women, how do you roll your eyes? They talk. How do they roll them? Some people have lost. Jesus has dealt with them enough. They've lost their ability to roll their eyes. But let's borrow you the grace again. There's no way you want to talk to someone and you want to show that you are ready to listen. You are rolling your eyes. You are rolling your eyes. You're already showing that rolling of eyes is disgust, is disrespect, and it's showing that I'm not interested in what you're about to say. Okay? And well, there are people who also are very restless. Generally, even in general meeting, there are people who have not trained themselves to. I learned that with. I learned that in for the first time, sit for lectures for 2-3 hours, even when you are hearing from a very sadistic lecturer who is very boring. You have to sit down. There are people who cannot sit down for more than 20 minutes. They are restless generally. You can't be a good listener with restless. Now, as I'm saying this, listen. As I'm saying this, I'm also recognizing the exceptions to the rules that I will be capturing. I'm not also saying by 100% affirmation that anybody who you are talking to and is up and he cannot be listening. The person could be a superhuman. So let's keep putting that. Every time I talk, just keep putting that. But somebody has said we should not boxing. But I say by the APCD or the ethics in listening, if you want to show, because sometimes the person your superhuman ability.
Thank you, sir.
The person takes you, and for those of us who are very spiritual, are the brothers who hear from God, who are anointed, who speaks in tongues. Amen. When you are in a relationship, the babe sees you as a human being first. Come to the head first. Come, so when she wants to say something that is very important to us,
He's speaking.
I will say, it's not you have to worship. There's a time to worship, because some of us we will start the discussion by saying, I'm not saying this to say that spiritual matters are not important. Somebody wants to discuss something with you, and the babe tells you that I'm supposed to be in an appointment by 2 o'clock. We just have 30 minutes. I have something very important to talk to you about. She sat down, you sat down. We said, the Bible says where 2 or 3 are gathered together. I'd like us to just pray before we start this talk. Of course, is prayer not good? So you now started praying. As we you sat down for 10 minutes. We're not started though. When you now finish the song, you now put a man dance. You went for 5 minutes. The discussion is for 30. And now, I'm not also saying that the Holy Ghost cannot be in that direction. But when the Holy Ghost is leading you, there should be a weakness on the other person. That's the way the Holy Ghost wants to move. So, wants to leave in by 30 minutes. You have spent 25 minutes to pray. And I'm not also saying that sometimes we can't, like somebody said, we can't also box the Spirit of God. The Spirit of God may lead that. You may discover that the 25 minutes help the discussion to go in 5 minutes and you are done. But I'm not saying, I hope that the fact that you have prayed, you have worshipped and spoken in tongues is not a guarantee that the babe will be impressed that God is in the meeting, that God is here now. Yes. As far as it's concerned, all of those things you have done can become a distraction to that conversation. Yes. So we are saying that what your body posture and don't say, and I want to add one to it before we leave. Choose a private, conducive environment. When somebody tells you that I want to have a discussion with you, somebody that, especially people who you love, because I'm listening in love, most of them, that if that environment is not conducive, please ask that, can we have this conversation at a more appropriate time? Or can we leave here and go to a quiet place? The person will appreciate that. Then somebody walks up to you and saying, maybe after is over and everybody's talking and somebody that you are close with, a close friend or a fiance, said, child, I want to have some, I want to talk with you. And when you want to talk, nobody here. I would like to talk with you. Nobody here. Meanwhile, there are people who do that. They actually know that you want to say something very important, but they are not actually interested. The way to show that they are not interested, you tell you, wait till you want to make you talk here. But if you are surely really interested in that conversation, then you should get away from the distraction. So it can also play out in your house. You want to have a conversation and the TV is walking up and down, playing around the place. Pause the conversation. Say, look, sweetheart, let's give me an hour or two. Let's take the baby to bed. Let's be done watching this movie. As long as this movie is on, sincerely, I may not be able to pay attention to what you are saying. So let's watch the movie so that I can have unrestricted attention. Because we're talking about listening attentively. You are trying to say that by my body posture, by the things I say I don't say, and by the environment, I have created an environment that makes me easier to listen to you. Why is generally recommended that we do devotions in the morning, to the early hours of the morning? Is it that we can't hear God all throughout the day? We create in the early hours of the morning, the Bible says why it is early before it is done. Jesus will rise up. Why? Why did he have to rise up when the whole world is sleeping? Why did God need to come down in the cool of the day to come and converse with Adam? There's something about a conducive environment. In the love world, we call it a romantic environment. An environment, we're talking about a quiet environment. There's a place of quietness. So we're also saying that the environment matters. You cannot have a very productive heart-to-heart discussion in a mode where there's noise all over the place. We are not also saying that, because there are times that you have to have a discussion now. You cannot escape from that environment. There's noise all over. Just like somebody was saying that you can have a lot of noise around you, but you have learned a skill how to be quiet on your inside to hear what the other person is saying. But not all of us can do that. So if you want to be a good listener, one of the things that you can generally do is eliminate all distractions. I want us to stay on this thought. That's what we're going to pick out from the next time when we meet. So as we're going home now, as we're moving from here, the first thing that should be going through your mind is, how do I eliminate distractions between myself and the Lord? Because your success in life is dependent on how much you can hear what God is saying to you. Listeners have not learned how to be quiet on their inside. They call what we normally call the voice that we still what? Small voice. You to hear the still small voice, it takes a lot of practice of being quiet on your inside. But several times God is not involved in the noise. He's not in the storm. In the still small voice. It takes practice to hear that. And that's why sometimes, if your house is too noisy, get out away from there. And that's why people go to retreat camps. They stay far away from the noise, that they can hear God. But with practice, as you build up, even in the midst of this noise, there are people who can quiet their spirit and hear God. But it takes practice. Before you get there, learn to seek a quiet place. I remember the story of Bishop Deo, how he got the commission. He was going somewhere and then he heard the voice saying, "Seek a quiet place. I want to speak to you." Maybe God has been speaking, the guy is not hearing. But this guy has a mandate that if I don't tell you, go and seek a quiet place. So there are lots of us that really need to seek a quiet place to hear God. And there are some of us that in the midst of a corporate discussion, an ESCO meeting and a body of meeting and meetings like this, sometimes quiet your noise. There's a lot of noise on your inside that is rumbling. Like what that guy is saying. I'm going to quiet it. You have to train yourself to quiet. Listen to what that guy is saying. Some of us, if you don't quiet the nudges on your inside, by the time you carry the microphone, you are going to vomit a lot of poison. Out of anger. You have to learn how to be quiet on the inside. First, when you are very angry, that's not the best time. Somebody said that you can be right but wrong on top of your voice. Let me say that again. You can be right but wrong on top of your voice. What you are saying is right, but the moment you build up the point, you are saying what is right, but you are saying on top of your voice. For the person who's hearing you are wrong. He's not hearing the wisdom that you are saying, he's hearing the spirit at which you are saying it. And you are not aware. In fact, there are some of us that have spoken to that. Sometimes when we talk, we actually think we are talking coolly, but the whole world is hearing you. but they are not aware that they are screaming. Several times I'm conversing with my wife, and I'm actually thinking I'm talking coolly. You are shouting. Shouting, I'm talking. You don't know what that is here. Meanwhile, I'm actually shouting, but I'm not aware. Because I've maintained that tempo over time that I'm not even aware that I am screaming. But she's hearing and I'm screaming. So after a while, I have to now say, okay. Left to me, I'm not screaming. Really.
For my mind.
But when I started hearing it consistently, to now say, okay, I have to now start deliberately lowering my voice. I'm wondering. Learn all these things. Since they are not, some of us, these skills we are not born with it. We unlearn and learn. How to learn how to say it with the right pitch, with the right show. Some of us cannot learn how to speak with smiling while we speak, even when you are feeling disgust on your inside. Some of us have learned it. Meanwhile, you are angry on the inside, but you have learned to still speak smiling. Because at this point, I need you to hear what I'm about to say, and I have to say it smiling so that you will not be distracted. It's the Spirit of God to help us. Because I must communicate. That is the reason why several of us, you see, most of the time, when you are conversing with someone and you find yourself, some of us have talked with us here, some of us, when you are in a conversation, even sometimes it's the last resort, and you want to take a walk away from someone that you are talking to, is generally, what do I call it, is generally an insult. Is generally a mismanagement of your emotion. When you get angry, of course, when you are going to become physical. It's rather to take a walk than to box somebody. But identify that you have not yet grown. You have not yet grown enough, mature enough to handle your emotion. Especially when you are in a corporate, if you are talking with your loved one, no matter how, you should be able to contain that situation and quiet your anger.
The connection is back up, alright? You can hear me now. Your earpiece? No, I can't. Yes, there's a microphone on my earpiece. Okay. No, it should be able to work, isn't? Oh, I didn't work. Okay, but you can hear me. Uh-huh. Yeah, you would have been able to hear me perfectly. Exactly.